What if I told you that every single night, as your body drifts into sleep, a sacred departure takes place, one so mysterious, so profound, that it has been quietly overlooked by the modern world for centuries? You might think that falling asleep is simply a way to rest and recover, a physiological process meant to repair your body and give your mind a break. But what if the real purpose of sleep isn't to rest at all? What if it's to remember, to return, to reconnect with what you truly are beyond this physical shell? You see, when your eyes close and your breathing slows, something far more significant begins. There is a silent moment, a barely noticeable shift, when the conscious mind lets go of its grip on physical reality. In that instant, while your body sinks deeper into stillness, your soul begins to stir. You may not realize it, but your spiritual self is awakening, rising, stretching beyond the edges of the bed you lay upon, untethered by gravity, time, or the limitations of the flesh. Every night, without fail, your soul leaves. Not entirely, there is always a thread that keeps you connected, a tether that binds the eternal to the temporary. Ancient mystics and seers spoke of this thread often. They described it as a luminous filament, a cord made not of matter, but of energy, light, intention. It stretches from your spiritual body to your physical body, linking the seen to the unseen. This connection, often called the silver cord, is not poetic metaphor. It is real, and it is the reason you can leave this world without leaving for good. And you do leave. You leave more often than you know, because the truth is, sleep is not simply unconsciousness, it is transcendence. Every time you fall asleep, your soul begins a journey. You've done this your entire life, but you've been taught to believe it's just dreaming. You've been told that the vivid scenes, the flying sensations, the inexplicable knowing, you were told they were fiction spun by a tired brain. But your soul knows better. It always has. The body rests, but the soul returns. To what, exactly? To realms more real than the one you now call waking life. To spaces where thought moves faster than light, where emotions sculpt landscapes, where time bends and consciousness stretches into impossible shapes. These realms are not elsewhere. They coexist with this world at higher frequencies, higher vibrations, invisible to the physical senses but fully available to your spirit. And the moment sleep begins, you begin to merge with them. Have you ever had a dream that felt more real than life itself? One that stayed with you not just in memory, but in sensation, in emotion, in vibration? That wasn't just a dream, it was a visitation. A return. And for most people, it happens nightly. But because we've forgotten the sacred language of the soul, we dismiss these moments as random or meaningless. Nothing could be further from the truth. In ancient cultures, sleep was never seen as mere rest. It was a rite, a ritual, a sacred passage into other worlds. It was understood that during sleep, the soul could travel, could seek, could learn. The elders would speak of night journeys with reverence. They believed that what happens in the dream state shapes what happens in waking life, and they were right. Because the soul does not sleep, it explores. The modern world has distracted you with data and devices, with noise and numbing. But your soul has never stopped remembering what sleep really is, a nightly invitation to step beyond the veil. And this invitation begins in silence. It begins in that weightless moment when the body releases control, when the conscious mind fades, when the heart rate slows and the breath deepens. That's the moment your spirit begins to rise. It's subtle at first, a lifting, a gentle loosening from the body. But then, as sleep takes hold, your awareness begins to untether. Most people don't notice it happening. But if you've ever experienced the sensation of floating just before falling asleep, if you've ever jolted awake with a sudden drop, what some call a hypnic jerk, you've brushed up against this truth. These are not random bodily glitches. They are echoes of your soul shifting dimensions too quickly, moments when your consciousness tried to return to the body before it had fully departed. You are far more multidimensional than you've been led to believe. In many esoteric traditions, the practice of conscious dreaming, what we now call astral travel, begins with learning how to stay aware as this silent departure begins. They taught initiates to pay attention to the moment when thought dissolves, and the inner world becomes louder than the outer one, because that's the threshold, that's the door, and if you cross it with intention, you can begin to navigate your night journeys instead of sleepwalking through them. Why does this matter? Because what you experience during these nightly departures is not just fantasy, it's not imaginary. It is spiritual reality, just expressed through a different medium. The dream world is not separate from the spiritual world. It is the spiritual world, filtered through your personal symbolism, emotions, and soul memory. When you fall asleep, you re-enter the vast terrain of your own consciousness, and beyond that, into the collective, into the divine. If you could fully awaken during your sleep, you would see the astral plane open like a living library. You would meet guides who have been waiting for your return. You would remember lessons you've already learned in other lifetimes. You might even glimpse your soul's purpose, not as an idea, but as an experience etched in light. These journeys are happening, whether you remember them or not. And so the real question is not, do you dream? The real question is, what is your soul doing while your body sleeps? Who is visiting you? What messages are waiting in symbols you've dismissed? What sacred knowledge is being whispered just beyond your conscious awareness? Every night you leave this world, every night you return to the world your soul calls home. But most of us forget. We wake up groggy and rush into our routines. We shake off our dreams like meaningless dust. We never pause to ask, what if that wasn't just a dream? What if that was realer than the world I woke into? And so, the silent departure continues. Night after night, your soul steps out into the mystery, into the infinite. And night after night, it waits for the day you'll finally remember. The day you'll honor what your dreams are truly telling you. Because sleep is not the end of awareness, it is the return to it. And now that you know, the journey will never be the same again. At the edge of your waking life, just before you slip into sleep, you pass through something most never see but everyone experiences. It is invisible to your physical eyes, yet your soul knows it intimately. It is the veil, a delicate membrane of consciousness that separates the physical world from the spiritual one. And every night, without realizing it, you cross it. You might think dreams are simply the mind's way of sorting through information or processing random thoughts. But if you've ever woken up with a dream that felt more real than your daily life, if you've ever carried emotions from sleep that lingered long after your alarm, then you've brushed up against the truth. Dreams are not illusions, they are transmissions, and the veil that separates your waking life from these spiritual realms is thinner than you were ever taught to believe. This veil is not a wall, it's more like a gossamer film, a frequency shift that requires no movement of the body, only a soft release of mental noise. You've felt it in those in-between moments, when your body begins to relax, and your mind loosens its grip. That gentle dissolving of the world around you, the floating sensation, the detachment from gravity, these are signals that your soul is beginning its nightly return to a deeper realm. Science calls it the hypnagogic state, but that label barely scratches the surface. What's actually happening is far more mystical. You are stepping out of the stage play of material life and re-entering the dimension your soul calls home. In this dimension, time bends, logic collapses. Physical laws do not apply, but something within you does recognize it. This is why some dreams feel more vivid than anything you experience during the day. There is a clarity there that doesn't come from your brain. It comes from presence. When you're dreaming, you're not confined to 5 senses. Your soul perceives without limitation. You feel truth rather than hear it. You see without eyes. You understand without language. That is why dreams can reveal to you things your conscious mind is not yet ready to process. They bypass the ego and communicate directly to the seat of your awareness. Most people believe that waking life is the real world, and that dreams are fleeting, fragmented nonsense. But what if that's completely backward? What if waking life is the illusion, the matrix, the limited field of experience? And dreams are the unfiltered stream of who you actually are. In the waking world, everything is filtered through programming, cultural beliefs, expectations, societal structures. But in dreams, your soul is free to move through truth unencumbered. That's why a single dream can shift your entire perspective or unlock a memory you didn't know you had. Your spirit remembers what your mind forgets. Yet most people wake up with no memory of their dreams. Why? If this dream world is so powerful, so real, why do we forget what happens there? The answer lies in a spiritual contract made long before you were born. When your soul agreed to incarnate into a human experience, it chose to temporarily forget, not because you were meant to stay blind, but because part of your soul's mission here is to remember. That forgetting creates the tension needed for awakening. Just like a seed must break through the soil in order to reach the sun, your consciousness must stretch through forgetfulness to rediscover its divine origin. This agreement, this veil of forgetting, serves a purpose. It gives weight to your choices. It makes your path authentic. But it also means that most of the wisdom you receive while dreaming stays hidden just beneath the surface of your awareness. Unless you cultivate the inner stillness and intention to retrieve it, it drifts away like mist. And so, most people wake up with fragments, symbols, vague impressions. They feel something important happened, but it slips through their fingers before they can name it. It's not because the dream was lost, it's because the veil is still in place. But here is the beautiful truth. The veil is not fixed, it's dynamic. The more conscious you become, the thinner it grows. With sacred intention, you can train yourself to remember. You can re-establish the link between your waking self and your dream self. Practices like dream journaling, mindful breathing before sleep, and setting spiritual intention all begin to soften the edges of that membrane. What was once unconscious becomes clear. The whispers become voices. The symbols begin to translate. And you realize that the dream world has been speaking to you all along. This veil also acts as a kind of protection. When you dream, you move through planes of consciousness that include not just light but shadow. Not all dream experiences are gentle. Some are initiations. Some reveal fears that you've buried for years. If the veil were fully open without preparation, the flood of spiritual data might overwhelm your earthly senses. That's why the universe teaches in layers, in fragments, in riddles. You are given only what your heart is ready to receive, but when the heart opens, when you begin to trust your inner world more than the outer noise, that's when the deeper dreams come. There's something sacred about this arrangement. The veil humbles you. It reminds you that spiritual truth is not something you consume. It's something you remember through direct experience. It invites you to become an explorer of your own consciousness. And in doing so, it reveals a hidden architecture of reality, one that has always been there, just out of reach, waiting for you to see with different eyes. So the next time you lay down to sleep, don't think of it as an end to your day. Think of it as a doorway, a return, a reunion. You are not just drifting off into rest, you are stepping back into the realm that shaped you. Beyond that veil is a universe of messages, mirrors, meanings designed specifically for your soul's evolution. And the more you awaken within it, the more you will understand. The dream world is not a lesser reality. It is the origin, the blueprint, the sacred space where spirit speaks in symbols, and your higher self patiently waits for you to remember what you've always known. Have you ever woken up from a dream so vivid, so emotionally rich, that it left you breathless for the rest of the day? Maybe you saw the face of someone who's no longer here, a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, a child. Perhaps there were no words spoken, yet their presence said more than language ever could. You felt it, didn't you? That unmistakable knowing that they were really with you. Not as a memory, not as a projection of grief, but as a real visitation. The heart knows the difference between an ordinary dream and a sacred encounter. And when your ancestors visit you in the dream state, it is never random, it is never meaningless. It is part of a deeper, divine orchestration that your waking mind is only just beginning to understand. When someone passes on, their body may dissolve into the earth, but their soul remains vibrant, aware, and deeply connected to those they love. Death is not the end of relationship, it is a shift in communication, and the dream state becomes one of the most sacred portals through which that communication occurs. Because while you sleep, your conscious mind relaxes, your spiritual awareness expands, and the barriers that normally separate dimensions become soft and permeable. This creates the perfect condition for contact. Not in the way you might expect, where your loved one appears and holds a full conversation, but in ways that are much deeper, more intuitive, more symbolic. The soul speaks a different language, and when the dead reach across the veil, they use that language masterfully. You might dream of your grandmother offering you a cup of tea in a room that never existed. You might walk alongside your brother on a mountain trail, hearing no words, but feeling everything. You might see your mother surrounded by flowers that don't grow on this earth, her eyes brighter than they were even in life. These are not fabrications of the mind, these are spiritual communications encoded in symbols, designed to bypass logic and speak directly to the soul. The reason these dreams feel so different is because they carry what can only be described as emotional residue, a sacred imprint left behind by real contact. It's why you wake up in tears, not of sadness, but of something softer, a peace, a closure, a warmth that remains long after the details of the dream begin to fade. Real spiritual visitations always leave a mark. They don't vanish like ordinary dreams do. They linger in your body, they echo through your chest, they repeat in your mind with a clarity that feels undeniable. The moment you try to explain them to someone else, you realize how impossible it is to capture their weight in words. But inside, you just know, and that knowing is the signature of truth. When the deceased come to you through dreams, they are not appearing as lost echoes of who they were. They arrive renewed, healthy, radiant. They often look younger, more whole, sometimes even surrounded by light. This isn't wishful thinking. It's a glimpse of who they truly are now, freed from the pain, confusion, and limitations of earthly life. Why do they come? Why now? Why? Through dreams? Because the dream state is the closest thing to the afterlife that you regularly visit. It is the one place where your vibration lifts enough for theirs to meet you halfway. And these encounters are not accidental. They are facilitated by your spiritual guides, beings whose job is to coordinate, protect, and support your soul's evolution. If your mother appears to you in a dream after years of silence, it's not just because she missed you, it's because the timing was finally right. Your guides know what your heart is ready to receive. They know when you need comfort, reassurance, or simply the reminder that love never dies. And when the emotional storms of waking life become too much to bear, your spirit family often steps forward in sleep to offer exactly what your soul needs. The symbolism in these dreams is not random either. A father who always worked with wood may hand you a carved object. A grandmother known for her garden may lead you through fields of flowers that whisper ancient meanings. Pay close attention to these images. They are messages, and unlike words, they carry layers of energy. Each petal, each item, each glance charged with something only your soul can decode. This is the sacred technology of spirit communication, and you are wired for it. Many people dismiss these dreams as just psychological processing, but that's only because they've forgotten the sacred nature of dreaming. What the mind calls imagination, the soul calls memory, and when your ancestors visit, they are not fragments of your subconscious, they are conscious souls reaching across dimensions with purpose. They come to remind you that you are not alone, that they are watching, guiding, loving you still. Some may come with warnings, others with blessings, and some with nothing more than their presence, a silent communion that heals far more than any spoken apology ever could. You might be wondering why some loved ones never appear, or why they stopped coming. The truth is, spiritual visitations are not under your control. They are gifts, timed perfectly by the unseen realm. Sometimes, the person you long to see the most is still adjusting to their own transition. Other times, your vibration or emotional state isn't yet open enough to receive their presence. But they are there. Just because you don't see them, doesn't mean they aren't watching over you. Dreams are only one form of contact. Signs, synchronicities, and deep intuitive feelings often continue the conversation long after the dream ends. If you've ever awakened with the scent of someone who passed lingering in the room, if you've felt a gentle touch or a whisper just before waking, if you've seen a loved one's face the moment you opened your eyes, know this: they are reaching for you. And when it happens in the dream state, you are being given a window into a much greater truth, that death is not an end, but a continuation of love's journey through new forms. To honor these dream visitations, begin with reverence. Don't rush into your day as if nothing happened. Sit with the dream, write it down, speak it aloud, feel the energy it left behind. Ask your soul what it was trying to tell you. Over time, you'll begin to notice a pattern, certain symbols repeating, emotions intensifying, clarity growing. This is your personal dialogue with the spirit world unfolding, and every time you honor it, the channel becomes clearer. Some visitations are part of a healing arc. A mother who left in conflict may return repeatedly in dreams, softening with each visit, until forgiveness is felt not just mentally, but spiritually. A child who passed too soon may appear happy, whole, and playing, offering you the assurance that their soul is safe and thriving. These aren't hallucinations, they are updates. They are spiritual postcards sent through the divine mail system of the cosmos, and your soul knows how to read them, even if your mind still doubts. In truth, these dreams are sacred appointments. They are not mere dreams, they are ceremonies held in the temple of sleep, where time bends, wounds are mended, and love continues its eternal work. When you dream of your ancestors, you are not stepping into fantasy, you are stepping into truth, the kind of truth that only the soul can hold. And when you wake up with your heart aching in that beautiful, broken way, you've just touched something eternal, something real, something sacred. Never forget that. There are dreams you wake from with a feeling you can't explain, not fear, not joy, but a kind of spiritual déjà vu. A moment where you say to yourself, "I've been here before," even though every part of your waking mind insists you haven't. These dreams don't feel random, they feel old. Not old in the way a memory fades with time, but ancient, like a piece of a story still unfolding through lifetimes. You might walk through a city that doesn't exist on any map, but your soul knows the streets. You speak a language you've never studied, yet every word carries emotion, as if it were once your mother tongue. These are not dreams in the way we usually understand them, they are echoes from a deeper source, fragments of past lives rising through the veil. Your soul is not confined to the years you've spent in this current body. Who you are did not begin at birth, and will not end at death. You are a traveler across lifetimes, a being of consciousness moving through cycles of experience and evolution. When your body sleeps and your conscious mind releases its grip on linear time, your spirit becomes free to wander, to retrieve memories, to revisit lessons unfinished. And that's when certain dreams become more than subconscious processing, they become soul memories wrapped in symbolism. Some dreams arrive as vivid flashbacks. You find yourself in a distant land, wearing clothing from a forgotten century, speaking words that come from somewhere deep within your being. You might witness a scene, a battle, a marriage, a betrayal, and wake up with tears in your eyes and no idea why. These aren't just dreams, they are residual imprints of lifetimes you've lived, surfacing now because your soul is ready to integrate what was left unresolved. Other times, the memory isn't literal but encoded. Instead of a clear replay, the dream arrives in symbols, a crumbling building representing a life that ended before its time, a repetitive scenario showing a mistake made again and again across different bodies. Interpreting these symbols requires a different kind of intelligence, one that doesn't rely on logic but on inner resonance. If you dream of drowning, but you've never had any fear of water in this life, it could signify a traumatic death in a previous incarnation. If you dream of fire, not destructive but sacred, perhaps your soul once served in ancient rites where flame was the pathway to the divine. These symbols are not always meant to be understood with the mind. They are felt. You know when a dream isn't just a dream because it stays with you, not as curiosity, but as a calling. Sometimes, these past life dreams return over and over, like chapters from a book your soul insists you finish reading. You may not understand the plot at first, but the emotions they stir are unmistakable. You feel sorrow for people you've never met. You feel guilt for choices you don't remember making. These are the fingerprints of karmic entanglements, the unfinished business of the soul. Karma is not punishment. It is continuity. It is energy in motion, seeking resolution. And dreams are the stage upon which these unresolved energies return to you for reconciliation. You might dream of being abandoned and wake up feeling unexplainable grief, even if your waking life is full of love. This could be a karmic wound echoing from a life where you were left behind. Or you might dream of harming someone and feel intense guilt without context. Perhaps your soul is asking for forgiveness for something done long ago. These dreams are not meant to punish you. They are invitations to heal. They rise to the surface not to haunt you, but to be met with love, to be brought back into the light of your current awareness. Karmic loops often play out symbolically. You may dream of the same relationship dynamic repeating with different faces, over and over. You may find yourself locked in the same conflict, chasing the same desire, or avoiding the same fear. These cycles reveal patterns that transcend this single lifetime. They show you what your soul has been wrestling with across ages: control, abandonment, power, sacrifice, betrayal, love. When you become aware of these patterns, you begin to see that your soul has been trying to resolve them not just in dreams, but through your waking relationships and choices. The dream just makes the unseen visible, and it's in these dreamscapes where time is no longer linear that the soul can gather the threads from past and present and begin to weave healing into the future. You don't have to know the full story of a past life to release the energy it holds. You only have to be willing to feel the truth behind it. When a dream leaves you shaken or uplifted without a clear explanation, ask yourself, not what it means, but what it moves in you. That emotional resonance is the bridge between lifetimes. Sometimes, the people in your dreams are the ones who've traveled with you across incarnations. Soul groups often return together, switching roles, evolving together. You may dream of someone who feels familiar even though you've never met them in this life. That recognition isn't coincidence, it's remembrance. Perhaps they were your child in another life, your parent, your teacher, your enemy. In dreams, the soul recognizes soul, beyond the masks of the current incarnation, and in those meetings, healing can happen, agreements can be renegotiated, lessons can be absorbed. There are also dreams where you observe yourself from outside your body, where you watch your own actions as though you're both participant and witness. These are signs of multidimensional awareness, moments when your soul is connecting to parallel timelines, or integrating versions of yourself from other lifetimes. Your consciousness is much vaster than your waking mind can comprehend, and when you sleep, the gates open just enough for these glimpses to slip through. But why now? Why do so many people experience these dreams at this stage in their lives? Because your soul is accelerating, the planet is shifting, consciousness is rising. And in this window of awakening, many are being called to retrieve and resolve their past life patterns so they don't carry them forward. These dreams are not random, they are sacred tools for liberation. They are showing you what you're ready to transmute, so you can evolve beyond repetition and into remembrance. The more you honor these dreams, not as illusions, but as sacred communiques, the more they will reveal. Keep a dream journal, and don't just write what happened, write how it felt. Patterns will emerge. Symbols will evolve, messages will become clearer. The veil between your lifetimes is not fixed, it responds to your attention. The more willing you are to look beyond the surface, the more your soul will bring forward what has been hidden. And perhaps the most important truth of all is this: your past lives are not separate stories. They are chapters in the book of your soul, and dreams are the pages being turned in the silence of the night. You are not meant to stay trapped in karmic loops. You are meant to remember, to reclaim your history, and to write a new ending, one where your soul walks freely through time, whole, awake, and sovereign. Have you ever had a dream that unfolded exactly as reality days, weeks, or even years later? A conversation with someone you hadn't yet met, a place you visited before it ever appeared in your life, a tragedy you sensed before it occurred. And when the moment arrived in waking life, something inside you whispered, "I've seen this before." It wasn't déjà vu. It wasn't coincidence. It was a message, a signal, a glimpse beyond the veil of time. What you experienced was not just a dream, it was a prophetic vision, a sacred window into the unfolding of your soul's path, or the collective destiny of the world around you. But why do these dreams come, and why not more often? Prophetic dreams are among the most misunderstood spiritual experiences you can have. They are not simply about prediction, they are about preparation. You are not shown the future to impress you or to prove that the universe is magical. You are shown the future when you are meant to participate in its unfolding, whether through action, awareness, or transformation. And that's why not every dream reveals what's to come. Some dreams reflect your emotional healing, others help you process the past. But prophetic dreams, they arrive when your soul needs to remember something the mind cannot yet comprehend. Not all are grand visions. Sometimes the future reveals itself in quiet fragments, a symbol that later appears in reality with perfect precision, a warning cloaked in metaphor, an ordinary scenario that unfolds exactly as dreamt, down to the weather or the words spoken. These dreams feel different. There is a charge to them, a spiritual electricity that lingers. You might wake up startled or shaken, unsure why a simple dream has left such a deep impression. But your soul knows. It recognizes the vibration of truth before the event ever happens. Prophetic dreams come through channels that are open to receive, and that means your emotional state, your vibrational alignment, and your spiritual receptivity all play a role in whether or not these messages are delivered. The universe does not waste energy. It does not send warnings to a closed heart or deliver sacred insight to a mind too distracted to listen. This is why some people go a lifetime without a single glimpse of the future, while others receive these dreams regularly. It's not a reward system, it's resonance. The more spiritually attuned you become, the clearer your dream mirror becomes. You begin to pick up signals that others miss entirely, but the delivery of these dreams is also filtered through divine timing. There is a perfect alignment that must occur, a convergence of readiness, relevance, and responsibility. If you are not emotionally ready to receive what the dream reveals, it will not be shown. If the knowledge would interfere with your spiritual growth, the future will remain hidden. If knowing would cause more harm than healing, the veil will stay drawn. The universe is not cruel, it is protective. It does not hand you more than your soul can carry. This is especially true when it comes to dreams that involve difficult outcomes, accidents, deaths, betrayals, losses. Some people are granted glimpses of these events before they happen, not to live in fear, but to prepare, to soften, to act in alignment with love. A prophetic dream of loss is not a punishment. It is a sacred alert that invites you to cherish, to forgive, to complete a chapter before it is taken from your hands. It is an act of mercy, a spiritual intervention that arrives wrapped in mystery. However, with this glimpse comes responsibility. When the future is shown to you, what you do with that knowledge matters deeply. It is not enough to witness, you must respond. If you are given a dream that reveals a potential danger, and you ignore it, you have turned your back on divine guidance. If you are shown an opportunity but allow fear to delay your action, the door may close before you're ready. Prophetic dreams do not guarantee outcomes. They invite participation. They say, "This is the direction things are moving. What will you do with this truth?" It is also essential to understand that many prophetic dreams are symbolic, not literal. You might dream of a shipwreck and wake up fearing disaster, only to find out days later that a relationship or belief system in your life has collapsed in the same emotional way. The soul speaks in metaphors because it operates at a higher level of consciousness. To translate these visions, you must learn the language of your own spirit. What symbols recur for you? What emotions accompany the images? What does your intuition say before your logic rushes in? Sometimes, prophetic dreams are not about you at all. They may be warnings for someone you love, messages about the collective, visions tied to ancestral karma or the evolution of humanity. In these cases, you may feel an overwhelming urge to speak, to share, or to act. But always remember, timing matters. Sharing a vision before someone is ready to receive it can cause fear or confusion. The role of the dreamer is not always to warn. Sometimes it is to pray, to hold space, to send light into an unfolding that only the divine fully understands. And still, there will be dreams that seem prophetic but never come to pass. You may dream of a tragedy that never happens, a moment that never manifests. Don't be quick to dismiss these as false. Some prophetic dreams are warnings of potential timelines, paths that might unfold if nothing changes. Your prayer, your action, your shift in vibration may alter the outcome entirely. In this way, dreams become not just visions of the future, but tools for shaping it. You are not a passive witness to destiny. You are a co-creator. That is the true power of the prophetic dream. It doesn't lock you into fate. It liberates you into awareness. It says, see what could be, feel what is possible, choose how you walk toward it. These dreams remind you that time is not linear, that the future already exists in potential, waiting for your consciousness to meet it. And when it does, the dream becomes real, not because you predicted it, but because you aligned with it. The key is humility. If you are chosen to see a fragment of what lies ahead, carry it like sacred fire. Do not boast, do not fear, do not cling to certainty. Let it guide you, not control you. Let it soften your ego, not inflate it. And above all, let it deepen your trust in the invisible intelligence that weaves time, space, and soul into a perfect tapestry of becoming. So, if you've ever seen the future in a dream, know this: it wasn't an accident, it was an initiation, a quiet invitation to walk forward with open eyes and a listening heart. Because the dream showed you the door, but only you can walk through it. Every time you close your eyes and surrender to sleep, your soul steps beyond the bounds of physical perception and enters a world where language is not spoken, but felt, not linear, but symbolic. This is the realm where spirit whispers in images, sensations, archetypes, and metaphor. It doesn't communicate through sentences or paragraphs like you're used to in waking life. It speaks in symbols. Each dream you have is a sacred text written in this symbolic language, alive, multi-layered, deeply intelligent. And the more you learn to read it, the more you begin to understand that your dreams are not meaningless mental noise. They are encoded transmissions from higher dimensions designed specifically for you. You've likely had dreams that made no logical sense, yet left you with a feeling too strong to ignore. A snake slithering through your living room, a train that never arrives, a stranger handing you a key. These aren't coincidences, they are messages wrapped in imagery, and while some symbols seem random or bizarre, they are not accidental. Spirit doesn't waste symbols. Every image, every sound, every sensation in your dreams is chosen with care to bypass your rational mind and speak directly to your intuitive core. There are symbols that carry a universal charge, ancient, cross-cultural images that speak to the collective soul of humanity. Water, for example, almost always symbolizes emotion. A river might represent flow or transition. A flood could signal overwhelm or spiritual cleansing. Flying is often tied to freedom or higher awareness. Losing teeth might represent fear of aging, powerlessness, or loss of control. These are patterns echoed through thousands of dream accounts across time and culture. These archetypes live in what mystics call the collective unconscious, a spiritual database that your soul draws upon during sleep, linking your experience to the grand human story. But just as important are your personal symbols, the ones that speak directly to you because of the meanings and associations you've given them through your lived experience. A red car in your dream might mean passion or danger to someone else, but for you, it might represent your father's temper, your first love, or a moment of escape that once changed your life. Spirit uses your emotional library as the foundation for communication. It knows what red means to you. It knows what car, fire, forest, storm, or song will trigger the memory or vibration it wants to awaken in your consciousness. The dream world is crafted like poetry. It's non-linear, symbolic, and layered with meaning that unfolds only when you stop trying to interpret it literally. To say you dreamed of climbing stairs is not to say your soul just wanted a workout. The act of ascending in a dream may represent spiritual evolution, overcoming a current obstacle, or revisiting the upward struggle of a past version of yourself. If the stairs are broken, the dream could be highlighting resistance, or a belief that you're not worthy of rising. This is why dream interpretation isn't about assigning one fixed meaning to a symbol. It's about asking what the symbol feels like in your body, what it triggers in your knowing. That is the key to building your own dream language, developing a relationship with your symbols instead of analyzing them like puzzles to be solved. Start by recording your dreams as soon as you wake, even if they seem incomplete. Don't just write what happened, write what you felt. Did the room feel cold, even if it wasn't physically? Did the person in your dream stare too long? Did the forest feel inviting, or did it carry the weight of danger? These textures are part of the message. Spirit hides the truth in feeling, because feelings are harder to manipulate than thoughts. As you continue to track your dreams, you'll notice certain symbols reappear. Maybe dogs show up whenever you're about to face a confrontation in waking life. Maybe water only appears when you're going through emotional change. These are clues. Over time, you'll begin to develop a symbolic vocabulary that is unique to your soul's journey. It's not about matching your symbols to a dictionary. It's about building a conversation with your own subconscious and higher guidance. This language will deepen the more you listen. There's a sacred intimacy in realizing that your dreams are designed specifically for you. Spirit does not speak generically. It chooses imagery that resonates with your history, your beliefs, your fears, and your longings. A door may not just be a door, it may represent the opportunity you're afraid to walk through. A mirror may not just be a reflection, it could be an invitation to confront a version of yourself you've been avoiding. If you dream of falling, it may not be about danger, it could be about surrender, or losing control, or the collapse required before transformation. Even nightmares carry sacred symbolism. They are not punishments. They are urgent messages that couldn't get your attention any other way. If you're being chased in a dream, consider who or what is pursuing you. What does that person or creature represent? Is it a part of yourself you've repressed? Is it an external force you've given too much power to? When something terrifies you in a dream, it's often because that symbol holds the key to a breakthrough, if you're willing to turn around and face it. Spirit often speaks in repetition. If you dream of the same symbol over and over, it's not coincidence. It's a knock that gets louder each time. The same song, the same staircase, the same color. Repeating symbols mean your soul is trying to tell you something important, and will keep trying until you listen. The moment you begin honoring your dreams as messages instead of noise, those symbols will start to shift. They'll become clearer. They'll respond to your attention like a language eager to be understood. The more fluent you become in the symbolic language of your dreams, the more guidance you'll receive. The messages will become more specific, the tone more direct. You'll begin to experience not just symbolism, but actual instruction, your spirit guides teaching you through imagery, sometimes through dream classrooms, scrolls, or symbolic rituals. This is not fantasy, it's initiation. Your dreams are preparing you to wake up more fully in your life. There's a reason this symbolic language bypasses words. Words can lie, they can be distorted by ego or misused through manipulation, but symbols cut straight to the soul. They awaken parts of you that words cannot reach, they stir dormant memories, they bring light to subconscious patterns. They remind you of what you've forgotten, that you are more than this one life, that your soul speaks a language you've always known, even if you've forgotten how to hear it. So the next time you dream, don't dismiss it. Don't rush into the noise of your phone or the world outside. Pause, write, reflect, ask. Every dream you have is a sacred letter from your higher self, encoded in the only language it knows you'll truly understand. Symbols, sensations, and stories. These are not hallucinations. They are holy messages, and once you begin to read them, you'll never again doubt that your soul is trying to lead you home. What if I told you that every time you drift into sleep, you're not simply entering a state of rest but stepping into a sacred space where unseen forces gather around you. That each night, when your eyes close and your conscious mind dims, divine beings draw near, not as abstract concepts or imaginary friends, but as intelligent, purposeful presences guiding you through layers of insight, healing, and transformation. These are not dreams in the ordinary sense, they are transmissions, encounters, teachings, gifts wrapped in symbols and vibration, designed not just to inform you but to awaken you. When you enter the dream world, you move beyond the static limitations of time and ego. Your soul becomes fluid, malleable, ready to receive. And it is in this state, when your mental defenses are low and your heart is slightly more open, that higher beings step forward. They don't always appear in recognizable forms. Sometimes they are cloaked in light. Other times they appear as mentors, strangers, animals, or even landscapes that feel alive and intelligent. These are your guides, your angels, your spiritual teachers, and though they may not speak in words, their presence is unmistakable. You feel them before you see them. You recognize them with something deeper than thought, an inner knowing that transcends reason. There are dreams that stand out from all others. You wake from them and know, without any doubt, that something happened, something real. Your body feels different, your mind is sharper, your heart is calmer or more expanded. These dreams don't fade like the others. They imprint themselves on your nervous system, sometimes pulsing with energy for hours or even days afterward. These are not dreams in the traditional sense. They are downloads, upgrades, infusions of spiritual data, coded in images, sounds, or even silence. What you've received cannot always be understood immediately. Sometimes it reveals itself gradually, like a seed planted in your consciousness that blossoms over time. You may not remember every detail, and that's okay. What matters is the transmission. These dreams are orchestrated by higher intelligences who understand not only your soul's blueprint but also the precise energetic frequency you are ready to receive. They know how to calibrate the information so that it doesn't overwhelm you. They offer just enough to stretch you, expand you, heal you, and while your waking mind may struggle to make sense of what happened, your spirit knows exactly what to do with it. That is the nature of divine communication. It bypasses intellect and goes straight to the root. Have you ever had a dream where you were being taught, not in a school from your memory, but in a place that felt unearthly, vast, serene, filled with light or strange architecture not of this world? You may have seen rows of souls sitting beside you, learning in silence, or perhaps you stood before a being who radiated such calm and power that words were unnecessary. These are classroom dreams. Sacred encounters where your soul is being instructed in matters your conscious self is just beginning to grasp. You may not remember what was taught, but the essence of the lesson integrates itself into your being. You begin to act differently. You perceive things you didn't notice before. You respond to life with deeper wisdom. This is not your imagination, it's your evolution in motion. Sometimes, these higher beings use dreams as a way to recalibrate your energy. You might find yourself enveloped in light, or see symbols being placed into your body. Sometimes you'll feel intense vibrations, hear tones or frequencies, or wake up with a sudden knowing that feels like it came from nowhere. These are energetic attunements. You are being aligned with higher truths, with new timelines, with deeper aspects of yourself that were previously inaccessible. The beings behind these dreams do not judge, they do not impose. They work in harmony with your soul's will. And the more open you become to their presence, the more profound the guidance becomes. It's important to understand that these beings don't only assist you in times of crisis. While they certainly offer protection, comfort, and clarity during life's storms, they are also present during your quiet seasons, gently nudging you toward purpose, reminding you of who you are, helping you shed illusions you've outgrown. Their work is subtle, yet powerful. And the dream state provides the perfect environment for their interventions, because your ego is asleep, your fear is quiet, and your inner world is more responsive to spiritual influence. One of the most overlooked forms of divine guidance in dreams is the use of story. you may find yourself in a strange narrative, playing a role, moving through a plot that feels meaningful, even if confusing. These stories are not random, they are parables crafted for your soul. A guide might appear as a stranger who offers you a key, or a child who leads you down a hidden path. A voice might whisper a phrase that repeats until you wake up. A test might be presented to you, and though you may not fully understand its purpose, the emotional resonance stays with you. These dream stories are sacred theater, designed to teach you through experience rather than explanation. If you've ever awakened from a dream, feeling as if you've been with someone you can't quite name, but whose love and wisdom eclipsed anything you've felt in this world, you've likely been in the presence of a higher being. These presences sometimes return repeatedly, acting as long-term guides throughout your spiritual journey. Others appear only once, in moments of profound transition or awakening. Either way, their influence leaves a permanent mark on your consciousness. You are never alone in your dreams, even when they feel quiet or barren. Often, what seems like an empty dream is actually a space being prepared, cleared, so that something deeper can enter. You might be undergoing healing or integration that your conscious self can't yet perceive, and in the background, always, there are beings watching over the process, making adjustments, ensuring that the architecture of your evolution remains intact. If you want to deepen your connection to these presences, begin with intention. Before sleep, speak aloud or in your heart. I welcome divine guidance in my dreams. I am open to receive what serves my soul. This act of permission creates resonance, and once resonance is established, your dream world becomes an active portal, a meeting place between worlds. Keep a journal near your bed. Write down everything, even fragments. Over time, patterns will emerge. A guide may reveal a name, a symbol may repeat, and slowly, the tapestry of your dream life will begin to weave itself into the greater story of your awakening. The truth is, the higher realms are constantly communicating. They are not waiting for you to be perfect, they are waiting for you to be receptive. And when you become receptive, dreams become more than dreams. They become sacred encounters, divine collaborations, soul initiations, whispered in the language of the spirit. Let go of the idea that you're dreaming alone. You're not. You're being guided, gently and lovingly, by intelligences that see the whole of your being, even the parts you've forgotten. Every night you return to them, whether you remember it or not. And when the time is right, when your soul is ready, they will reveal truths so profound, they will reshape the way you see yourself and the world forever. These dreams are not just messages, they are mirrors of your divinity, and each one is a step closer to remembering who you've always been beneath the forgetting. When your body falls into slumber and your breath slows into the rhythm of silence, something extraordinary begins to happen, something that defies the laws of time and space. While the physical world fades into the background, your soul begins its ascent into realms untouched by clocks or calendars. You may not consciously remember it, but every night, your spirit enters into spaces more ancient than language and more sacred than any earthly sanctuary. These are the night temples, realms beyond the veil where souls gather not by accident but by divine appointment. Within these invisible temples, learning occurs not through reading or lectures, but through frequency. Healing is not performed with medicine but with light and intention, and initiation unfolds through sacred remembrance of who you truly are. These temples are not bound to a single form or culture. They are not built from stone or wood, but from geometry, vibration, and consciousness. Some appear to the dreaming soul as vast cathedrals of glowing light, others as simple circular spaces carved from golden mist. The appearance is often symbolic, designed to meet you where you are in your spiritual development. A soul in need of deep healing might enter a sanctuary that feels like a garden filled with soft music and warmth. A soul undergoing initiation might experience a hall of mirrors or a cosmic courtroom. These places are not creations of fantasy. They are vibrational sanctuaries, existing within the layers of the astral realm, encoded with the purpose of your soul's evolution. Within these temples, souls don't wander aimlessly. There is an intelligence, a sacred choreography behind each gathering. You do not enter alone. Night after night, your soul reconnects with others, members of your soul group, who journey alongside you across lifetimes. Some of these spirits walk with you in your waking life, as friends, family, or even strangers, whose presence feels oddly familiar. Others remain in the higher dimensions, guiding and assisting you from beyond the veil. But in the dream state, the distance collapses. Time folds in on itself, and these companions gather with you in ways that your conscious mind cannot grasp. Sometimes you'll dream of being in a meeting, of traveling with a group through symbolic landscapes, or of completing a task whose purpose feels urgent yet mysterious. These are not meaningless adventures. They are echoes of spiritual missions carried out by your soul, while your body rests. You've likely had dreams where you felt as if you were being taught, where someone stood before you, radiating calm authority, sharing knowledge without words. You might have received scrolls, keys, symbols, or simply a sensation of clarity that remained with you long after waking. These are glimpses of the night temples at work. They are schools without blackboards, transmitting information not through language but through direct knowing. One moment you feel lost, the next, you are filled with understanding. You may wake up feeling as though something has shifted inside you, even if you can't explain it. That is the residue of spiritual education, wisdom returning to the surface from a place beyond memory. There are also nights when you are taken to healing chambers within these temples. These are not symbolic metaphors, they are energetic realities. Here, soul wounds are mended with light, emotional burdens are lifted with sound, and the psychic residue of fear, shame, or grief is dissolved through vibrational alignment. You might dream of being bathed in colored light, or lying in a crystalline structure that pulses with sound. You might wake up feeling lighter without knowing why. That is not an illusion. It is the afterglow of true healing, proof that the work done in these temples ripples into your waking consciousness. But these temples serve not just individual healing. They are places of remembrance, places where souls are reminded of who they are and why they came. Within them, initiations take place, silent ceremonies where veils are lifted and deeper callings are activated. You may dream of stepping through a doorway, crossing a bridge, or walking through fire. These dream experiences are not random. They are initiatory codes, rites of passage through which your soul is evolving. You don't need to remember the details. The frequency is enough. Your awakening is not solely the product of what happens during the day. Much of it is cultivated in these hidden sanctuaries of the night. All of this is orchestrated through a deeper field of intelligence, the Akashic field. Think of it as a cosmic memory bank, a living archive of every soul's journey across time. Within it is held every thought, every experience, every possibility you've ever lived or imagined. When you sleep, your soul gains access to this field not as a passive observer, but as a participant. You can review karmic patterns, witness past lives, glimpse potential futures, and receive guidance that helps you realign with your soul's blueprint. This is why some dreams feel like messages rather than stories. You may dream of a future event that later comes true, or of a symbolic choice that matches a decision you'll soon face. These are not coincidences. They are records pulled from the Akashic field and presented to your consciousness in symbolic form to guide your path. Sometimes you'll meet beings in these temples who don't resemble humans at all. They may appear as light forms, as animal guides, or as something beyond shape or form entirely. They are not figments of your imagination. They are consciousnesses that dwell in higher dimensions, some of them your guides, others teachers from beyond this earth system. If you've ever woken from a dream, knowing you were in the presence of something holy, something ancient, something loving beyond words, that was a visitation. Not all spiritual instruction happens in waking visions or meditations. Much of it happens while the ego sleeps, and the soul can open itself fully to receive. In the night temples, you are not evaluated by earthly standards. No one is judging your performance or comparing you to another. The only question is this: are you remembering? Are you receiving what your soul has long sought to remember? Every night, your soul attempts to bring back fragments of these experiences, not always in full, but in sensations, in colors, in emotions that linger. A dream might leave you with a single symbol, a single phrase, or a sense of peace you can't explain. Don't dismiss it. That small thread may be all you need to begin unraveling something ancient within you. The more attention you give to your dreams, the more they'll respond. If you begin to honor them, not as entertainment, but as sacred communion, you will strengthen your connection to these temples. Before sleep, set an intention. Ask to be taken to where your soul is most needed. Ask to remember what is most important. And upon waking, stay still. Breathe. Ask yourself what you brought back. Even a single word or image might be a key. You were never meant to walk your spiritual path alone. These temples exist as gathering places for those like you, seekers, healers, teachers, guides, who are here not just to awaken themselves but to assist in the awakening of others. You may never fully recall the missions you undertake in sleep, but you will feel their effects. A sudden impulse to call someone, a burst of insight into a problem, a shift in your energy that comes without explanation. These are the footprints of your soul's nightly journeys. So the next time you lay your head down, know this: your day may be ending, but your work is not. Your body sleeps, but your spirit rises. The temples await, the teachers are present. The mission continues, and somewhere beyond time, your soul gathers with others like it, fulfilling purposes your waking self is only beginning to understand. What if I told you that not every dream you have is harmless? That sometimes, what you experience in the dead of night is not simply the product of your subconscious mind, but a direct interaction with forces that do not come in peace. While many dreams serve as gateways to higher guidance, healing, and ancestral wisdom, there exists another category, one that unsettles, frightens, and leaves behind an invisible weight you carry into the day. These are not just bad dreams, they are encounters, energetic intrusions, moments when your spiritual defenses are thin, and something else, something darker, takes notice. To understand the nature of demonic interference in the dream realm, you must first accept that the spiritual world is not made solely of light. Just as this physical world holds beauty and cruelty side by side, the invisible dimensions are home to both benevolent and malevolent energies. Not all entities you encounter in your sleep are here to guide you, some are here to feed. These dark forces are not fictional, they are very real, and many people experience them without ever realizing the depth of what occurred. You might wake up in a cold sweat, heart racing, after a dream so twisted and invasive it shakes you for hours. You tell yourself it was just a nightmare, but something inside you knows it was more. Demonic interference often begins subtly. It disguises itself through symbolism, through fear-drenched stories that make no logical sense but leave you emotionally disturbed. You may dream of being hunted, trapped, manipulated, or attacked by shadowy figures or monstrous beings. The dream may feel suffocating, and despite your attempts to run or fight, you remain powerless. Sometimes, these entities shapeshift. They may pose as someone you trust, drawing you in before revealing their true nature. This is not simply your psyche processing fear, it is spiritual infiltration. A direct attempt to access your energy, while your conscious defenses are down. Sleep paralysis is one of the clearest signs of this kind of interference. That terrifying experience where you awaken but cannot move, your body frozen while your mind is fully aware. Often, during sleep paralysis, people report sensing a dark presence in the room, something standing at the foot of the bed, pressing down on their chest, or watching them from the corner with eyes that do not blink. This is not imagination. It is what happens when your spirit re-enters the body too quickly during an astral return, and there is interference at the point of re-entry. These entities are opportunistic. They wait for the veil to thin, for your awareness to be caught between realms, and they use that moment to approach. What do they want? Energy, your fear, your emotional charge. These beings are not creators. They do not generate life force. They feed on what others emit. Fear is a frequency, a tangible resource in the spiritual ecosystem. When you experience terror in a dream, especially of a recurring nature, it is often because something is harvesting that energy. Not in a dramatic Hollywood horror sense, but in a quiet, energetic way. Your nightmares, in this context, are not just internal chaos, They are spiritual events with real implications. But don't mistake this for helplessness. Just as you would lock your doors before bed in the physical world, you must learn to protect your dream body before sleep. Because your dream body is not imaginary, it is a real aspect of your soul's expression, a subtle energetic form that travels beyond the flesh while you rest. And just like your physical body, it needs protection, intention, and care. Before you sleep, set an energetic boundary. Say aloud or internally, "I call upon divine protection as I rest. No energies may enter my space without my conscious permission. I move only in light, and only beings of love may approach." Words matter. Intention shapes reality. When you declare your spiritual sovereignty, dark entities lose their invitation. In addition to spiritual declaration, there are tools. Crystals like black tourmaline or obsidian placed under your pillow can absorb intrusive energies. Burning sage or palo santo before bed purifies the space and severs lingering attachments. Sound frequencies, especially those tuned to 528 Hz or higher, can raise the vibration of your bedroom, making it inhospitable to lower dimensional forces. Salt around the bed, or a small dish under your mattress, acts as a barrier. These may sound like rituals from another time, but they work because energy responds to structure, and your conscious preparation creates energetic armor. But protection is not just about blocking entities. It is also about healing what they are drawn to. Dark forces often enter through emotional wounds, unhealed grief, suppressed rage, deep insecurity. These are like open doors in your aura, signaling where you are vulnerable. If you've had traumatic dreams or repeated visitations, ask yourself, what part of me is still aching? What unresolved energy is broadcasting into the astral realm, calling in attention I didn't ask for? The more you heal your inner world, the less reactive your energy field becomes. The less you emit fear, the less you attract those who feed on it. After a disturbing dream, the most important thing is to clear yourself. Do not carry that energy into your day. Upon waking, cleanse, sit up, place your feet on the ground. Take deep breaths, and say, I now release all energies that do not belong to me. I send them back to their origin with love and finality. I am whole. I am sovereign. I am clear. Then physically cleanse, take a cold shower, wash your face, burn incense or diffuse cleansing oils. These actions may seem simple, but they send a powerful message to your subconscious and the unseen forces watching. You are not passive, you are aware. It's also helpful to write down the dream. Not just what happened, but how it felt. Often, what is being attacked or targeted in a nightmare points to what you're being called to strengthen in waking life. If you're being chased, perhaps you're running from your truth. If your voice is taken, perhaps you're not speaking up where you need to. Dark dreams, though terrifying, are often mirrors held by the shadow itself, showing you what you must face, reclaim, or protect. And in that way, even demonic interference can serve your evolution if you choose to confront it rather than fear it. But remember this, no force in the dream world, no matter how dark, has authority over you unless you grant it. The moment you awaken to your power, your ability to set intention, to call in divine forces, to cleanse your field and strengthen your spirit, the game changes. You are not at the mercy of your dreams. You are the dreamer, the architect, the gatekeeper. And once you remember that, the nightmares begin to dissolve, the shadows retreat, the fear loses its grip. You were never meant to sleep unguarded. You are not just a body lying still. You are a soul in motion. And the more aware you become of what's happening behind the veil, the more consciously you can walk through those hidden realms. Nightmares are not punishment. They are invitations. Not from the darkness, but from your deeper self, calling you to take ownership of your spiritual terrain, to rise, to protect, to remember who you are even in the dark, because the truth is, even the night bows to those who carry the light. There are dreams that pass through you like soft breezes, brief, surreal glimpses that dissolve the moment you open your eyes. And then, there are the others, the ones that stay. These dreams leave a mark. They do not fade with daylight, they echo. Days later, weeks later, something will trigger the feeling again. A sound, a scent, a certain light in the sky, and suddenly, you're back in the dream without warning. The emotion floods you before your mind even recalls the details. You can't explain why it affected you so deeply, or why it follows you like a shadow. You only know that something was awakened in you, and it refuses to go back to sleep. These emotionally intense dreams are not accidents. They are designed with precision, crafted by your higher self or spiritual guides, as a direct transmission from the parts of your being that lie buried beneath the surface. When your waking life becomes too loud, too distracted, or too disconnected from your inner truth, your soul speaks louder, and it does so through dreams that carry weight. These are the dreams that burn into your memory with colors more vivid than reality. A voice that you hear only once, but know you've heard before. A landscape that feels like home even though you've never seen it with your waking eyes. These are not stories, they are soul messages. You may dream of someone you've never met, and feel an immediate, heartbreaking familiarity. You may find yourself in a situation filled with unbearable beauty or unbearable grief, and wake up with tears in your eyes and a longing you cannot name. This is the echo of divine memory. These dreams are not simply emotional, they are spiritual resurrections. They are fragments of your soul's past, filtered through the symbolic language of the subconscious and encoded with emotional intensity to ensure you feel their message before you try to understand it. Because it is not your mind that is meant to comprehend these dreams, it is your spirit. Sometimes, these dreams are memories, not from this life, but from others. Past life traumas, unresolved karmic entanglements, or spiritual vows made in other incarnations may rise during sleep, not to torment you, but to be acknowledged. The soul does not forget. It holds every lifetime, every sacred promise, every wound, and every triumph in its energetic field. But in waking life, much of that memory is sealed behind a veil. Dreams become the space where that seal loosens, allowing the energy to flow through, to be remembered through feeling. This is why you might dream of drowning and wake up gasping for air, even though you've never feared water. Or dream of standing at a cliff's edge, filled with peace, and feel a release from a burden you didn't know you were carrying. These moments are not metaphors. They are soul remembrances, delivered in the only way your current consciousness can receive them. There are also dreams that feel more like transmissions than stories. A sentence, whispered by a stranger. A single word repeated again and again. An image you can't forget, no matter how many years pass. These pieces are not fragments, they are keys. Sometimes they are coded activations, unlocking a dormant aspect of your purpose or your gifts. Your soul knows what you came here to do, even if you've forgotten, but it never stops trying to remind you. When direct messages can't reach you during the day, they arrive in the quiet stillness of sleep, wrapped in emotional intensity to bypass the noise of doubt. These dreams are sacred wake-up calls. Then there are the recurring dreams, the ones that return night after night, or year after year, changing only slightly, but always anchored by the same feeling. You might find yourself lost in the same house, searching the same hallways, or you may dream of falling from the same height, trying to say something with your voice frozen in your throat. These aren't loops of meaninglessness. These are messages that have not yet been fully received. Your soul repeats them because they contain something essential, something unresolved that still needs your attention. Recurring dreams are not punishment. They are persistence, evidence of your spirit's refusal to let you sleepwalk through life. The question is not, what does the dream mean, but rather, what part of me is still asking to be seen? Is it the child you once were, holding grief you were never allowed to express? Is it the past life self who died in fear and needs your compassion? Is it the future self reaching back to warn you or prepare you for what's coming? The truth is, dreams exist outside of time. They are messengers from the soul's total memory, past, present, and potential future, all converging into a single experience that the sleeping mind translates as story. That's why some dreams feel prophetic, others nostalgic, and still others haunting. They are pulling from multiple timelines, stitching together a message that only your heart can translate. It's easy to dismiss emotionally intense dreams as byproducts of stress, memory, or subconscious noise. But if you pause and feel into them, truly feel, you'll discover that what they awaken in you is not confusion, but knowing. There is a deep part of you that recognizes these dreams as something more. It knows that these are not just nighttime wanderings, but soul-to-soul communications. That when you dream of weeping at someone's deathbed or standing in radiant light among strangers who know your name, you're not imagining. You are remembering. And more than that, you are being remembered. Some of these dreams arrive as healing opportunities. They bring up buried pain not to re-traumatize, but to cleanse. Emotions that have been locked away in your body, waiting for a safe space to rise, find expression in these dreams. If you've woken up crying or laughing or trembling with a grief you couldn't explain, know that something ancient within you has been released. Your spirit has been waiting for you to feel this, so you can finally move forward, lighter and more whole. And then, there are the dreams that leave you with a question, a sense that something important happened, but you can't quite grasp what. That sensation is intentional. Not every dream is meant to be understood immediately. Some are spiritual seeds. They lodge themselves deep in your psyche, and days or even years later, the full meaning blooms when you're finally ready. The emotion you felt in that dream was the watering of that seed. It did its job. It entered your consciousness and waited. That's why honoring these dreams matters. Write them down. Reflect on them. Not with urgency, but with reverence. Let the feeling guide you. Let the symbol unravel in its own time. Your dreams are not here to confuse you. They are here to show you how deeply you are connected to something infinite. They are your soul's chosen method of communication. Vivid, emotional, haunting, beautiful. Because your soul knows what will stir you from the inside out. Your spirit doesn't want you to understand. It wants you to remember. So when a dream haunts you, don't turn away. Follow it. Sit with it. Let it become a portal. It is not a sign of psychological imbalance. It is a spiritual message delivered in the only language the eternal part of you could understand: feeling, memory, and symbol. These dreams are sacred echoes of who you've been, who you are, and who you're becoming. They are proof that your soul has never stopped trying to get your attention. And when you finally choose to listen, you begin to wake up, not just from sleep, but from the illusion of forgetting. It's are weak, where old trauma still holds sway. And in the lucid state, you have the ability to face these patterns, transform them, and reclaim your strength in real time. You are no longer running from your inner world, you are engaging with it as a conscious participant. With time, lucid dreaming becomes more than a practice. It becomes a way of being. You begin to carry that awareness into waking life. You listen more deeply, you question more courageously, you trust your inner signals, you stop moving through life in a daze and start living with eyes wide open. Lucid dreaming shows you what's possible when you awaken in one dimension and invites you to do the same in all others. And yet, for all its potential, the lucid state is delicate. It requires balance. Push too hard, and you wake. Let go too much, and you lose awareness. The key is presence, stillness, a gentle hold on your intention. You're not trying to grip the dream, you're learning how to dance with it, how to walk beside your soul, instead of dragging it in a direction it's not ready to go. That's the difference between control and communion. Control is fear wearing a mask, communion is trust made real, and your dreams can feel the difference. So the next time you find yourself in the dream world, and something feels familiar but strange, ask yourself, am I dreaming? And if the answer is yes, don't rush. Breathe, look around. Feel the texture of the air. Call out to your soul, to your guides, to the intelligence behind the veil. Ask to remember, ask to receive. Because in that moment, you're not just dreaming, you're awakening. And that awareness is the gateway to everything your soul has been trying to show you all along. Long before modern society reduced dreams to neurological leftovers or fragments of subconscious debris, ancient cultures revered the dream state as sacred ground. a divine classroom where the soul could be instructed, healed, and initiated by forces beyond the veil. To them, dreams weren't passive or accidental. They were active engagements with the spiritual realms. They believed dreams came from the gods, from ancestors, from one's higher self. In many cases, entire temples were constructed with the sole purpose of accessing divine insight through the dream state. Civilizations did not treat sleep as rest. They treated it as a doorway, one that required preparation, purity, and reverence. And through that doorway, they discovered spiritual technologies, practices, and tools that allowed the dream world to become a place of prophecy, initiation, and transformation. The practice of dream incubation was central to many mystery traditions. The concept was simple, yet profound. If one entered the dream state with focused intention and purified the mind and body beforehand, the divine would respond with a message. But this wasn't done casually. Before sleep, individuals would engage in rituals to cleanse their energy. They would fast, bathe in sacred waters, offer prayers or sacrifices, and enter special chambers designed to heighten their receptivity. These temples weren't just symbolic, they were vibrational structures built on energy points of the earth, acting as amplifiers for contact with the spiritual planes. In these spaces, dreams weren't just insights, they were answers to questions posed by the soul. Healing, revelation, and even communion with divine beings were expected outcomes. This wasn't superstition. It was sacred science. People believed that during sleep, the soul left the body and traveled through invisible dimensions. That belief wasn't just poetic, it mirrored the truth many mystics still speak of today, that consciousness expands far beyond the physical form during rest. When the mind is quiet and the body is still, the spirit is free to roam the deeper layers of reality. And if you've ever had a dream that left you with an unshakable sense of truth or knowing, if you've ever woken up feeling like you've been somewhere more real than the waking world, then you've experienced this yourself. You've accessed the hidden layers of the dream world, and you've brushed against the technologies that exist there, not physical tools, but energetic systems designed to evolve the soul. These ancient dreamers didn't enter sleep blindly, they partnered with the unseen. They called upon spirit guides, deities, animal totems, and ancestral forces. They spoke sacred words before lying down. They used herbs known for their subtle effects on consciousness, plants like blue lotus, mugwort, and wild dagger, which were often steeped into teas, burned as incense, or placed under pillows. These weren't drugs, they were vibrational allies. Each had a specific frequency, and that frequency worked like a tuning fork, harmonizing the soul with the dimension it sought to enter. Crystals were also used, not for decoration, but for energetic calibration. A piece of amethyst near the bed might amplify psychic perception. A quartz crystal could aid in memory retention. Labradorite could enhance dream recall or protect the aura during astral travel. These tools weren't used with superstition. They were employed with deep intention and respect, as part of a larger spiritual ecosystem. Sound was another sacred key. Chants, mantras, and vibrational tones were recited before sleep to align the subtle body. Just as lullabies calm a child, these sacred utterances attuned the soul to higher realms. Frequencies, particularly those known today as solfeggio tones, were used to prime the mind for spiritual dreaming. The ancients may not have used the same terminology, but they understood vibration. They knew that frequency shapes form, and by shifting internal frequency before sleep, one could influence the dimension they entered while dreaming. A chant, repeated with intention, wasn't just sound, it was a password, a spiritual technology encoded with purpose. What makes these traditions even more powerful is how they still work. Even now, in your modern world filled with noise and distraction, you can recreate these ancient practices in your own sacred way. You can prepare your body for sleep with mindfulness instead of stress. You can choose to disconnect from screens, cleanse your space with sound or scent, and speak to your higher self with clarity. The dream world listens when you speak with reverence. If you approach sleep with the awareness that you are entering a temple, not just a bed, everything shifts. Spirit meets you in proportion to your intention. You don't need ancient temples to access divine dreams. You only need willingness, ritual, and trust. It's also important to understand that spiritual technologies within dreams don't always look like tools. Sometimes, they appear as symbolic devices, keys, scrolls, geometric shapes, or light codes. You may dream of receiving a glowing symbol etched into your skin, or of walking through a gateway made of sound. You might hold a crystal orb, or be given a garment to wear. These are not mere symbols, they are energetic activations. The dream world uses metaphor to communicate spiritual truths your waking mind would struggle to process. These dream objects are frequencies embedded into story. Receiving them isn't just an experience, it's a transmission. Your energy field is changed, even if your mind doesn't yet understand how. In many cases, people dream of temples or classrooms, spaces where they are being taught. These are not fantasies. They are visits to higher realms where your soul is given guidance, instruction, and healing. If you've ever dreamed of being tested, guided through rituals, or shown images that felt initiatory in nature, you've touched one of these higher dimensional spaces. What you learn there may not surface right away, but you'll feel its presence in your life, in sudden clarity, in intuitive nudges, in the dissolving of a fear that used to hold you back. The dream did something. The spiritual technology worked. Even without memory, the shift occurred. These technologies also extend into the realm of protection. The dream world is vast and layered. Not every space is benevolent. Not every presence is aligned with your highest good. This is why the ancients taught protection as part of the dream practice. They wore sacred symbols or inscribed prayers around their sleeping chambers. They asked for the presence of guardians and set energetic boundaries before sleep. You can do the same. You can speak aloud or within. Only those energies aligned with my highest truth may enter my space. Intention is technology. It shapes the energetic environment in which your dreams unfold. You are not powerless in the dream world. You are not a passive recipient of symbols and visions. You are a co-creator, a conscious traveler, a divine student in a multidimensional school. The tools available to you, whether ancient herbs, sacred sounds, protective rituals, or dream recall practices, are not just optional. They are the very instruments your soul chose long ago to navigate this vast inner universe. And as you begin to treat sleep as sacred, you'll find that your dreams deepen, lengthen, and speak more clearly. You'll stop dreaming like a human and start dreaming like a soul. There is technology within you already. Your intuition, your memory, your energy field, your connection to spirit. But the dream world provides the classroom where those inner technologies are activated. Not by force, but by resonance. And once awakened, they do not return to sleep. You carry them into your life, into your work, into your relationships. Every night becomes a return to the sacred, a reunion with the infinite, and every morning becomes a resurrection of truth you've known all along. What if I told you that your dreams are not just reflections of your mind, but assignments for your soul? That each night when you close your eyes, you're not escaping reality, but entering a deeper one, a sacred field where your spirit stretches, heals, remembers, and evolves. You weren't designed to sleep simply for rest. You were designed to dream so your soul could continue its journey. There are dimensions of you that cannot awaken fully in the physical world. They come alive in the silence behind the eyelids, in the color, chaos, and clarity of the dream realm. And without that realm, without that nightly return, your evolution would be incomplete. The dream world is not random. It is not a playground of meaningless images or emotional leftovers. It is a dimension of intelligence, a space encoded with guidance, truth, and fragments of who you are beyond the veil of waking perception. Your soul travels there not just to process, but to remember, to recalibrate, to receive what you could not access during the noise of the day. In many ways, your soul uses dreams the way an artist uses a canvas. It paints with symbols, colors, and movement, revealing pieces of your spiritual identity that remain hidden when you're awake. Every dream is a message in motion, and when you learn how to listen, you begin to uncover the reason you are here. Why must the soul dream in order to evolve? Because in waking life, you are bound by structure, by habit, by linear time. Your body has limitations. Your mind, although powerful, often gets tangled in thought loops and conditioning. But in the dream realm, those constraints are lifted. Time bends, identity shifts. You are free to explore yourself from angles your conscious mind cannot reach. The soul uses dreams to break patterns, to test possibilities, to encounter truths without resistance. It is in dreaming that your soul rehearses courage, confronts fear, communicates with higher wisdom, and reintegrates aspects of self that were lost or silenced long ago. Think of the dream world as a bridge between your earthly self and your eternal self. It is where your higher consciousness speaks in symbols, nudging you gently, or sometimes forcefully, toward alignment with your purpose. And often, what you discover in your dreams are not new ideas, but forgotten truths. You may dream of a life you've never lived, but feel familiar with. You may meet a guide who speaks with a voice you recognize from somewhere beyond this lifetime. You may feel a pull toward a mission, a message, a calling that has no name, but stirs something ancient in you. These are not accidents, these are soul fragments returning, memory reclaiming itself, your purpose whispering through the cracks. Some people go through years of spiritual seeking, reading books, taking courses, chasing teachers, yet the most profound insights arrive in the quiet, raw, unfiltered world of dreams. That's because dreams are honest. They bypass the performance of spirituality and speak directly to what's true. A single dream can show you where you're holding on to pain, where you're betraying yourself, where you're ready to grow, but haven't yet chosen to. Other times, a dream offers you a revelation so vast you wake up weeping, not from fear, but from recognition. You remember, you see clearly, even if only for a moment, what you are and why you're here. And that clarity begins to change everything. The soul does not evolve through knowledge alone. It evolves through experience. And dreams offer experiences that are not limited by physicality. In a dream, you can merge with light. You can become the wind, the ocean, the cosmos. You can live an entire lifetime in one night, feeling love, loss, reunion, and transformation. These are not fantasy. They are accelerated soul experiences, chosen for your development. And often, what happens in a dream can catalyze a real shift in your waking life. You may wake up and finally feel brave enough to speak your truth. You may suddenly understand why a relationship had to end. You may realize the next step on your path with a certainty that no teacher or book could have given you. That's the power of dream revelations. They don't come from outside you. They rise from within. There's something deeply humbling about realizing your soul has been working while your body sleeps. That even in your unconscious state, your spirit is devoted to your growth. It never stops. It is always reaching, always remembering, always trying to bring you closer to the fullness of who you really are. Dreams are one of its favorite tools, because they create space for truth, space for light, space for realignment. Every time you choose to pay attention to your dreams, you're saying yes to that process. You're telling your soul, I'm listening, I'm ready to receive. This is why dream work is a spiritual practice, not just a mental one. When you commit to recording your dreams, studying their symbols, feeling into their meanings, you are doing sacred work. You're not just analyzing, you're integrating. You're walking the bridge between this world and the next, with open eyes and an open heart. You're reclaiming pieces of your consciousness that have been buried by noise, trauma, and distraction. And you're making space for your true self to emerge. As you deepen your connection with the dream realm, you'll start to notice something beautiful. The boundary between waking and dreaming begins to blur. Synchronicities increase. Insights come faster. You begin to sense guidance not just in sleep, but in the rhythm of your everyday life. Your intuition sharpens, your perception deepens. You no longer live as someone chasing purpose, you become someone embodying it, because your soul is not separate from your life. It's right here, breathing beneath your choices, nudging you through dreams, whispering through symbols, guiding you into wholeness. You'll also begin to notice that your dreams are evolving alongside you. As your vibration rises, so does the clarity of the messages. The dream world responds to your growth. It reflects your inner shifts with incredible precision. What once felt chaotic begins to take shape. What once felt confusing begins to carry depth. And in time, you may even reach a point where your dreams feel like home, where you wake up not surprised by what you saw, but deeply comforted by the sense that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Your soul doesn't just use dreams to show you what's wrong, it uses them to show you what's possible. You may dream of a healed version of yourself, living with joy, expressing your gifts, surrounded by love. You may glimpse a future not yet lived but already written in the energy of your potential. These dreams are not illusions, they are invitations, they are blueprints. They are echoes of your highest timeline calling you forward, and the more you say yes to that vision, by healing, by aligning, by trusting, the closer you move toward it. In the end, the purpose of the dream world is not escape, it is evolution. It is your soul's way of reminding you that you are not just a body or a mind, but a multidimensional being capable of extraordinary transformation. You were never meant to walk this path blind. You were never meant to rely solely on logic or intellect to find your way. You were given dreams as a compass, as a map, as a sacred dialogue between you and the divine. Every dream is an offering, every night, another chance to remember. So the next time you close your eyes and slip into sleep, know this: you are entering a holy place, a space where time bends and truth rises, a space where your soul is speaking. Listen closely, it's telling you who you really are. There is a sacred moment each morning, fragile, fleeting, when you drift between the dream world and the waking one. Your eyes may still be closed, the room still quiet, your body heavy with sleep. But your soul, freshly returned from its nightly travels, is whispering truths that have not yet been erased by the noise of the day. In that delicate sliver of time, before the demands of the world rush in, a doorway remains open. What you do in that moment matters more than you've ever been told. Because the dreams you carry back with you are not just stories, they are sacred messages, reflections of your inner self, and often instructions from realms beyond the veil. They are offerings, ephemeral gifts, that, if not honored, fade like smoke. But if you meet them with reverence, they become fuel for transformation. Most people wake up and immediately discard their dreams. The alarm goes off, the phone glows with messages, and just like that, the tether to the soul's night journey is severed. But you don't have to live like that. You can choose a different rhythm, a morning ritual that honors your dreaming self and opens the channel for wisdom to flow into your waking life. That begins with stillness. When you first open your eyes, stay quiet, stay present, let your body remain still, and before you do anything else, ask yourself, what did I bring back with me? Even if the dream feels distant or confusing, trust that something lingers, a color, a sentence, a feeling. It may not make sense at first, and that's okay. The goal is not to understand, but to receive. Dreams speak in symbols because they are encoded with multiple layers of meaning. One image may hold a personal message, a spiritual reminder, and a future insight all at once. This is why journaling is not optional, it is essential. Keeping a dream journal by your bed, ready to receive your first thoughts, is one of the simplest and most powerful spiritual practices you can embrace. Don't wait until you've brushed your teeth or scrolled through your notifications. Write down everything you remember, no matter how small. The fragments are often the most important. A single word or symbol can unlock an entire message later in the day, or even weeks later. Write it raw, write it messy, but write it now, because every time you do, you are telling your soul, I'm listening. Over time, patterns begin to emerge. Symbols repeat. Certain themes resurface again and again, asking for your attention. That dream hallway you keep walking through, that staircase that never ends, that stranger whose face shifts as you speak. These are not coincidences. They are coded memories, karmic loops, or soul contracts trying to surface. As you journal, Don't just capture what happened, capture how it felt. The emotional tone of the dream often holds more truth than the narrative itself. Did you feel peace, panic, joy, confusion? These feelings are threads, and when you follow them, they lead to revelations that bypass logic and go straight to the heart. To decode your dreams is not to solve a puzzle, but to open a dialogue. Ask questions in your journal. What does this symbol remind me of? Have I felt this before? What might my higher self be trying to show me through this? Don't expect immediate answers. Some dreams are seeds that take time to bloom. Others are mirrors showing you what you're not yet ready to see. But if you keep returning to the page, something begins to shift. The dreams deepen, the messages become clearer, your relationship with your inner world transforms. You begin to trust the language of spirit, not because you always understand it, but because you feel its truth resonating through you. And that's the key, trust. You must learn to trust what you receive, even when it defies logic or reason. Your dreams do not always follow the rules of the waking world. They are shaped by intuition, energy, soul memory, and divine timing. What feels meaningless today may become prophecy tomorrow. That strange image that made no sense may appear in your life with startling clarity a week later. When you begin to honor your dreams, synchronicities increase. You hear the word from your dream spoken by a stranger. You see the symbol appear in unexpected places. These are not accidents. They are confirmations, signs that you are aligning with the deeper flow of your destiny. But this isn't just about interpreting dreams, it's about living them. The ultimate purpose of a dream is not just to inform you, it's to transform you. If your dream asked you to forgive, then forgive. If your dream showed you light within darkness, then walk into your day with hope. If your dream gave you a message to speak, then speak it. Spirit does not waste words. The dream world is not entertainment, it is preparation. When you awaken with the message still ringing in your heart, the question becomes, what will you do with it? Living your dreams means acting on their wisdom. It means following the intuitive nudges that arise afterward. It means shifting your behavior, opening your heart, having the conversation you've been avoiding, or stepping into the path you've long resisted. Your dreams are already leading you. The only question is whether you're following. And when you do follow, even in small ways, you begin to notice a powerful truth. Remembering your dreams is really about remembering yourself. Because every symbol, every emotion, every soul encounter in the dream world is a reflection of your vast inner landscape. You are not just the dreamer, you are the one being dreamed. Your soul is always trying to bring you back to your essence, to help you remember what this world tried to make you forget, that you are infinite, that you are connected, that you are here for a purpose. Dreams strip away the noise, they show you what matters, they remind you of who you were before the world told you who to be. And as you deepen this relationship with your dreaming self, your waking life begins to change. You begin to live with more intuition, more clarity, more trust. You start to see symbols in everyday life just as you do in dreams. You become more present, more attuned, more aligned with your soul's frequency. The divide between sleeping and waking blurs, because you no longer live in separation. Your dreams are not just messages for the night, they are blueprints for your becoming. Every morning is a rebirth, a chance to choose again, to listen again, to remember again. And when you treat your dreams as sacred, when you create a ritual around your awakening, you become a vessel for divine communication. The messages no longer vanish with the sun, they anchor into your being, they guide your steps, they shape your life. So tomorrow morning, before the noise returns, before the demands rush in, give yourself the gift of presence. Ask, what did I bring back with me? Write it down, breathe it in. Trust that it matters, because it does. Your dreams are not illusions, they are the echoes of truth calling you home. They are maps from spirit drawn in the ink of memory, longing, and love, and you are the only one who can turn them into reality.